Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Shirley with Holistic Transformations Massage, also known as Jolly with Jolly's Healing Touch. Here with you to share about using essential oils and crystals to balance out the chakras. So this is part 3 in a 3-part series. We'll have part 1 and part 2 in the description box below, the videos to that, so that you can check this out. In this video, we're going to be talking about balancing the 5th, 6th, and the 7th chakra. Today we have Alecia. Hi, Alecia.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being part of this 3-part series and sharing your knowledge. So excited to share about the throat chakra, the third eye chakra, and the crown chakra. So let's go ahead and get started. So we'll start with the 5th chakra. The 5th chakra is, can you tell us a little bit about the 5th chakra?
Okay, so there's a transition that happens between the heart and then going into the 5th chakra, which is the throat. So with the heart, we talked about truth, right? The truth of, self-compassion, self-love. And when you start to allow yourself to blossom in your own truth, you start to align with your purpose, right? You start to understand who you are and what you're here to do and how to do that, right? And so the throat chakra deals with the expression of that truth, right? So it's not enough to just know yourself. Now you're going to do something to ensure that other people know who you are, right? And understand who you are and understand your purpose. So that expression and the blockages that come with that deal with, the inability to communicate, to set boundaries, to do those types of things, right? And so with the healing comes the self-expression. And that's why I love art so much. I love these, various forms of expressing myself and healing, because it really is just the expression of your heart through this particular chakra.
And what color is associated with that chakra?
So the throat chakra is blue, the heart is green. And as I mentioned before, you can do foods, you can definitely do, clothing, colors, like you can see my wall is bright, hot turquoise, which, just speaks to my personal energy. And here's my little picture of this woman and some water and all these blues. So not even consciously, but definitely knowing that I had some throat chakra issues, right? So we can have these issues dealing with, the inability to express the self. If you ever did express yourself and you didn't feel like you had the space, you were judged for it, you were shut down, you didn't feel safe to do so, all of these things start to block the throat chakra. And on the other hand, we know that it can be overactive, and so you can take up too much space, you can express too much. You have to know the balance between, being able to stand firmly in who you are, but not overdoing it.
Can you talk a little bit about that, how certain illnesses or certain diseases are correlated to chakras?
So within traditional Chinese medicine, they say that, like each organ holds a particular emotion. And so even in the ranges, the physical areas related to the chakras, so, the throat, anything dealing with this area, like you were saying, tonsillitis, bronchitis, anything to affect the respiratory, all of this, area, would have some correlation. So you can do some work on expressing yourself or healing the chakra that's in that particular physical area to at least help move the energy in the emotional body, because we have layers. We have our physical body, emotional body, astral, et cetera. So even if you do the work and it doesn't magically resolve whatever the issue is, you can at least say that the energy is cleared in the emotional body. And so it will have an impact on the physical body. And little by little, there are multiple ways to look at illness and to look at these issues when they come up. For example, like I always have issues with my lungs and dealing with COVID right now, right? So the lungs deal with grief, right? So how are you processing grief? How are you expressing the processing of, these really heavy emotions, because they, it's in essence, sit in the body and block the flow of energy. That's mostly what all of this is about, the flow of energy, and that it's consistent, that it's free, and that we facilitate it, that we help it. People say, the word emotion means energy in motion. So you want to make sure that you keep that. I remember we mentioned Avatar in the first episode. You want to make sure that you keep your, keep your lake or whatever body of water flowing and clear, and not have it blocked up by any particular thing.
Wonderful. So what crystals would you suggest to work in balancing that chakra?
Yay. So one of my favorites, Amethyst. I don't know if you can see it too well. I know you have yours over there too. So anyone who is doing healing work, this is like one of the go-tos. I would say get some rose quartz, put it in a bag, and keep it on you. Amethyst is just, it's so comforting. And it's actually, I think Amethyst is good for dream work as well, which is something that I'm really interested in. But Amethyst is just really soothing, really calming and comforting. And it's a beautiful stone to combine with the rose quartz.
I love my amethyst. I have it in my healing space. I have it in my home. So it's one of my favorite crystals. And it's funny because I just pretty and I just vibed with it. I didn't really know the qualities until I started researching. It was a perfect fit for me.
I mean, that's a great way to pick your crystals too. It's just like, oh, that one is pretty. It's the idea that something in you is attracted to the purpose and what that crystal can do. So if that's how you start and you pick one out, that's a great way.
Well, and I also tell my clients it's a great way to pick their essential oils. Your body is extremely intelligent. All of your body, your emotional body, your spiritual body, your physical body, extremely intelligent. So if you're attracted to an essential oil, then you need its properties. So that's a great way to try to smell it. And if you like it, if you're attracted to it, that's the one to go with.
Yeah, I love that. Talking about the different types of intelligence in your body itself, knowing, what it needs to heal. And I love that.
So a little bit about the essential oils that are good for the fifth chakra. Lemon opens up a sluggish fifth chakra, and Roman chamomile helps to calm. The sixth chakra is the third eye chakra, correct? Could you tell me a little bit about that?
So the third eye deals just with, it's just this very sharp clarity, just a knowing and understanding. This particular chakra, I think during meditation, that's when you start to kind of what people call like decalcify it, and to really actually connect to that insight and that wisdom.
So am I correct in saying that chakra is connected to our pineal gland?
Yes, you are.
Great. See, I pay attention. I'm paying attention in my classes. So the color with that is indigo.
Yes.
Indigo, great. And can you tell me about the crystals associated with that chakra?
So I don't have a purple one, but this is fluorite. And so the purple fluorite deals with the, helps clear up the third eye. And someone told me that, when I was dealing with like clearing up, unblocking my third eye, they told me to mix, I think was it Himalayan salt and like lime? And to just like physically put it on there, and like it actually worked. I was just like, what? How is that going to do anything? And it worked. Like I could start to feel during meditation that I was getting more clarity, and that my spiritual abilities were coming in stronger just by doing that for a week or so. So there are definitely different ways to open it and to keep it clear.
So my practice for my third eye is meditation.
Yeah.
And that meditation is not always an easy thing. However, every time you try it, you get a lot of benefits. Mm-hmm. So like, even if I sit down and I can't get my mind to shut off, it still is extremely beneficial. Yeah. And with each practice, I can get that space. A teacher of mine told me we're looking for the space between the thoughts. And you're looking to expand that space more and more and more. And the more you practice meditation, the more that space expands. And then you're just looking for quiet space, focusing on your breath, breathing in and breathing out. Meditation is one of those practices that is highly beneficial, but it's always hard for me to articulate what it does or how it's beneficial. I just know it works. Right?
Yeah, for me, it's just, it literally feels like I can just open the sky and there's a beam of sunlight just beaming, just made for me, and it's just beaming joy into my existence.
Yes.
So I remember when I was like very consistent and very disciplined about my practice, just going into meditation, even if I was sad, I would be like crying in tears, and by the end I was smiling. Like it's just this place that kind of cleanses and releases and washes everything away and just puts you in this place of joy and gratitude and just reminds you what's important. And I think we were talking about, you know, like negative self-talk and anxiety, depression, all of these things that kind of cloud our judgment, cloud our mind. And meditation has been one of the most beneficial practices for me in clearing away some of that debris.
Yeah.
And the idea that, so, you know, people like to say, well, I can't sit and meditate. I don't like to do that. And so some people, I will yell at them and I will say, I don't care. Like, you need to sit, because if it's a problem with discipline that you can't do it, I'm going to make you do it. I think you should try. I think you should try and make the effort, even if you get 2 minutes of that, you know, space in between. That practice is worth so much more than reading about it and listening to people talk about it, anything. Just the benefit of feeling it and proving it to yourself. And the idea is that you're not trying to force quietness, right? So what you're trying to do is just witness. You know, your thoughts come up, you see them, and you let them go by. I can't remember which app it was, but they talked about, you know, the thoughts just being on a conveyor belt, and you're like, oh, okay, there's a thought, there's another one, and you just let it go.
Analogy, yeah.
Right. So you don't, the purpose is to not engage with it, right? Because you engage with it, you pull it in, and it starts to completely take over, right? So you're trying to get to that empty space, but you cannot force it. And it's something that you do have to be disciplined about in practice and explore just out of the curiosity. You know, there are things that we just like, I wonder if this works. I wonder, and I can't, like you said, you can't really explain it. My sunlight and, you know, joys and beams of joy is the best way that I can. That's what it did for me. But I would love for everyone to experience it and to be able to say, wow, it did X, Y, Z for me, like my personal experience and what it does, because I think it is an individual experience and it can bring a lot of whatever it is you find that you need. I think meditation is a place to get it for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So taking a few minutes in the morning is a great way to do meditation. I mean, some people use visualization, but you really don't need all of that. It's just silence. And a great teacher told me, it's like watching the clouds float by in the sky. Yeah, they come in and they go out with no judgment and no pushing away the thoughts, right? We are not our thoughts. We really are. And we can and not all those thoughts are really ours too. So we watch them come and go with no judgment and looking to increase that space in between the thoughts. So I also encourage that you try meditation. And reach out to Alecia, reach out to us if you need some support with that. So the oils that go with the third eye, we talked about the color being indigo, correct? Okay, so the oils, rosemary helps with the sleeping third eye. So it helps awaken the third eye. And German chamomile also helps stabilizes and focus. So you can just take a nice deep breath. You can place the oil in your hands, rub your hands together, and bring them close to your nose and take a deep breath. You can put it in the diffuser for 15 minutes and diffuse it in the air. So there are different ways that you can use your essential oils to help clear the chakras. I will place them in our description box below. I will place the link on videos to teach you on how you can use your essential oils. Great. Anything else about the yes?
Yes. So one more thing with the third eye is that we do need to be careful with opening it. And I just think with the chakras in general and just spirituality in general, because in overactive third eye, we can start to get into like psychosis and other experiences that are not fun because it's overactive and it's just, it's my mentor, Charlene, who, she always says, it's a psycho-spiritual experience, right? And so your mind, your spirituality, your actual human experience, like all of these things are tied. And so we do still need to be really respectful and really careful and really mindful when we take up these practices, because there are consequences and there are things that, we can't control all the time. And so it's very important to take things slowly, to study, to learn, to be very deliberate, to ask for help. All of those things are very, very important, especially when we start to get into the higher chakras and dealing with the mind.
I'm so grateful for you for saying that, because, it's right. If we're doing this by yourself, you don't want to go overboard in one direction. You do want to find a balance. Balance is the key with your chakras, and please reach out for help. That's why, Alecia, I brought you onto these videos, because you're such a great source of knowledge on how to balance your chakra. This is not something you can always do by yourself. Yes, intuition is a great guide, but it's always great to have somebody who's been there, who knows the pitfalls, to guide you in the right direction. So please reach out to us for assistance in this, particularly Alecia. Thank you, Alecia, for saying that. So let's move on to the crown chakra.
Yeah.
Wonderful. All right. So can you tell us a little bit about the crown chakra, the seventh chakra?
So the crown chakra is, that I was talking about my ray of sunlight. So I feel like the crown chakra would be the last thing to open to allow that divine energy to flow down. And so the idea when it comes to having like a spiritual awakening is that there is the energy is coiled at the root chakra, right? And so as you heal, like it's rising, it's getting through the blockages, and that energy is rising. And so eventually it rises up exactly, what's up. It rises up to the crown. And so you get this infusion of divine energy, and it's healing, and you can pull that energy down into the physical body, and it's very healing. It's very calming. It's just restorative in so many different ways. And so once you get to having everything open and being able to maintain and, keep everything open and flowing in a good state, that becomes a little easier. But sometimes the first awakening is a very challenging time. And so bringing up mental illness and what's referred to, so some people will say that mental illness is a quote unquote spiritual emergency. right? And so it's that your, either third eye or whatever is just so out of balance, and this energy is just rising so quickly within the physical body that it just cannot, be contained in this human experience. And so you start to, whether it's having scary dreams or whatever starts to happen to you, it starts to feel like, psychosis, mental illness, depression, all of these other things that can happen as well. So it's a very complicated process. And I think once you get to, having the crown open, things kind of level off. You go back through it sometimes, for the most part, but I think that first time when you're actually clearing those blockages for the first time is probably the roughest.
Yeah. So the color with the crown chakra is violet, correct? So that's one of my favorite colors to wear is violet and purple. Can we talk about breath work and how breath work can help balance the chakras?
Yeah. So breath work is, I think during meditation, breath work and aromatherapy have been significantly helpful in just allowing me to, fall into that really divine space where, the thoughts are gone and I'm just in this emptiness. It's just a really amazing feeling. And, the parts of the brain that you trigger with either aromatherapy or with the breath work really allow for that space. And I can't think of anything other than the breathwork and aromatherapy that really just facilitate it in such a powerful way.
Yes.
Is that something that you use consistently, like the breathwork?
Yes, I use deep breathing consistently, especially in my meditation when I start with my meditation, to be able to try to get out of just all the thinking, is to focus on my breath, breathing in and breathing out. And aromatherapy has definitely been a key in helping me focus, relax, and release. So the essential oils for the crown chakra are frankincense and sandalwood. Something you said earlier is if you can really heal and take care of the first, second, and third chakra, and the fourth chakra, everything else kinds of falls into place.
Yeah, I think just being a human being, the blockages in the root, sacral, and solar plexus chakras deal with youth and deal with that young age, and it we don't really take into consideration the fact that those traumas follow us for our entire lives, and they're like, it's such a foundational time, and yet there is so much trauma associated with being young, being so vulnerable, and having to rely on others to care for you. And so there is so much trauma that comes along with that, and it's a lifetime of healing. But the beautiful thing about once you heal those, you kind of heal the fear, the shame, the guilt, all of those things that block those lower three chakras, and opening the heart, allowing yourself to face those things, to face the things that you don't like, the things that you do like, and to celebrate all of it, and to get up into the higher chakras where you can actually express that truth. You develop a spiritual practice, you are now cleansing, you're consistently meditating, you're taking care of yourself. All of those things help the process, and just it just gets easier. I feel like once you get past your heart chakra, things just get a little bit easier, because now you feel so empowered, right? We dealt with the solar plexus dealing with that empowerment, and the root being that like kind of home base and that strong foundation that if you did not have parents or guardians or a strong foundation in that way, you can create one for yourself. And what it looks like after you do that, and after you get to heal your inner child and give your inner child that kind of sanctuary and that comfort and that healing. And so what does it look like when you're me being in my early 30s and just now exploring expressing myself in art and doing all of these things that I didn't get to do in my childhood. And I think dealing with healing, like it's never too late. You know, I can't remember which artist, I've been thinking about this quote so much, and he said it took him a lifetime to learn how to paint like a child again. You know, so you go through this cycle and you go back into your childhood. That's essentially what we're doing. And so, yeah, it's important for you to sit down and finger paint and go outside and put your feet in the grass and just take pleasures. Today, I was writing on Instagram about just the pleasure, like sensory pleasures, just seeing colors and feeling things and smelling and tasting. Like, we don't take enough time to just feel that. I feel like that's such a powerful part of our human experience that we overlook. And so I think doing all of this healing work really brings you back into your physical body, into your experience, and it just makes it a really rich experience. And it's not so, you know, filled with pain and so filled with trauma. Once you heal and you release all of that, it brings so much joy and pleasure back into it.
Thank you. Something you mentioned before about, you know, eating colors, eating like blue for the heart, for the throat chakra, green for the heart. So one thing that comes to mind, I always love like a colorful salad, right? So if your salad has green, the leaves, kale, spinach, you know.
That would have everything, right? That would be like every color you could get in there, right?
Right, the tomato for the red, blueberries for the blue, you know, I don't know, purple, the red onion, you know, the purple onions. If you get that, a wide variety, you know, orange slices for the orange, yellow zucchini, squash. If you think about, you know, getting all the colors in there, I think that's a great way to balance, because, you know, natural healing herbs, food has a nice way of balancing, not going over one way or another, giving you what it is that your bodies need emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Yeah. Well, thank you, Alecia. This has been so much fun, and I'm so grateful for you for joining us in the series. I have put on the description below ways that you can reach Alecia. If you have any questions, please make sure to add them in the comments. Please like, share, and subscribe. Make sure to hit the bell so you can get notifications whenever we have a new video release. Thank you again, Alecia, and we'll see you soon. Bye.